Hey guys, Sonos has released a new firmware version and now it is standing at 15.10 and it was released on the 16th of November, which happened to be a Thursday. I wasn't looking out for it because usually Sonos releases firmware updates on a Tuesday. On Thursday, 16th of November, I was having a party and having a whale of a time. Well, the party venue wasn't using Sonos, but there was some music and I was dancing away. So I didn't notice the firmware update until I came back home and I started to play something, and on the Sonos S2 app it prompted me that there is an update, but I had to spend some time after that to test this, and as usual I test all the firmware updates and I'll let you know if everything is good to go before you do your update, in case it breaks your system like what happened last year with 14.12 and they take 3 months to actually resolve the issue only at 14.18, 3 months later. Right, so today, 15.10, it addresses a very simple issue. Well, a very persistent issue which has plagued a lot of users, well, not myself, but it removes the pop of death. So pop of death is actually this loud pop. I actually haven't heard it myself because I haven't been affected by it, but it affects ARC users as well as Beam Gen 2 users, and these two soundbars are actually Dolby Atmos compatible. And the reason why it happens is because of some, I don't know, misdecoding of the MAT sound, I don't know what you call it, the Dolby Atmos stream. Alright, so I'll talk a little bit about it, but in short, in summary, before you go on to the rest of my video, or just leave the video if you don't have time to do so, the 15.10 solves that issue. So if you are using a Sonos ARC or Sonos Beam Gen 2, you can and you should upgrade if you're suffering from that problem. But even if you're not suffering from that problem, I will tell you the upfront summary, the sound is unaffected. In fact, I'll go through a little bit more about that with the sound frequency sweeps later on so that you can see what I'm talking about rather than just hear it for yourself and start imagining things. Now, there are a couple of things that I want 15.10 to resolve. One of which is, wait a minute, this iPhone 15 Pro Max. Well, the iPhone 15 Pros were launched about 2 months ago and yet they have not been supporting TruePlay. So the last round of 15.9, I wanted a TruePlay to be included, but I thought it was a little bit fast, maybe 1 month not enough for them to react, but even as of this, I'm using the 15 Pro Max, it actually still does not support it. Well, I'll go through everything all in details, right? So the reason why I was looking forward to this release was primarily because of TruePlay. I wasn't affected by the loud pop of death sound, but so I couldn't really be bothered about that, but I know some of you guys are. So some of you guys have actually asked me for solution over the years that I've been running this channel on how do you solve that pop of death. So I mean, I couldn't do anything much about it. Even the smart guys, the Sonos engineers, they couldn't do much about it. So much less me, right? I don't have access to any of these technology or the software tools that they're using to develop the firmware. And I don't know how the speakers work. I just like how they sound. But over the years, I have consistently recommended maybe remove one possibility, one failure points from your whole chain, which is the HDMI cable. So I have been recommending this HDMI cable. Well, it's connected to my monitor right now, so I won't pull it up front, but this is the UGREEN HDMI cable. It has been around for a while, I think 1 or 2 years, and I've been using this almost exclusively throughout my entire house. This is a nickel-plated housing, so metallic housing at the end, and it is a braided cable. It comes in various lengths, 2 meters, 3 meters, even up to 5 meters. Personally, I've not tested the 5 meters, but the 2 and the 3 meters, they work fantastically well. They will support 4K at up to 240 frames per second, that's 240 hertz, or even an 8K display at 60 hertz. And bear in mind, this is HDMI 2.1 certified cable, meaning to say anything that you want out of it, the variable refresh rate, the HDR, the high dynamic range, the Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, everything that you want in a cable is here. And it costs less than $20 US, way less than $20 US if you apply some vouchers, which UGREEN always have on the Amazon link. I'm going to be linking the Amazon link right here. It's an affiliate link, so if you buy this cable for yourself or for your family and friends, you are also helping me out. You won't pay anything more, and I get a small couple of percentage points commission from that, which is a couple of cents out of the $20 that you're going to be spending on these cables, and it does help out the channel. Now just bear in mind that you are not going to get better picture quality than what you're getting now if you are currently using well-spec cables already. So if you're connecting your Sonos ARC and your Sonos Beam Gen 2 thinking that this better cable will give you better sound and better picture, well, not picture because it's a soundbar, right? But it will not do so. But what it will guarantee you is that if there are any issues with the whole sound and the vision, that you're not getting it correctly, it's probably some settings or the hardware compatibility, and it's never going to be the cable. This cable so far has provided flawless support throughout all my devices at home. This is not a sponsored review. UGREEN is not paying me anything. I'm just sharing this with you guys because it's a cable that works for me, and if it helps you solve some of the problems that you have, it could be a bad HDMI cable or an under-spec HDMI cable that you're using, then by all means, go ahead, use this link. It will help me out, and I definitely hope that this recommendation helps you out too. So like I said, I wanted iPhone 15 Pro Max to be supported for TruePlay. It has been 2 months since I got the phone, and they still have not supported it with 15.10. Well, it's 2 months. Maybe I'll give them under the next month. So TruePlay is apparently being supported on the 15 and the 15 Pro, non-Max version. So if you're holding to one of those phones, and if you are trying out TruePlay, leave a comment down in the comment section below to let me know that it is working for you, and maybe share it with the rest of my viewers. I thank you for that. Now you talk about fast, so this is 2 months, right? But this pop of death, it took them 3 years to resolve it. Well, it could be a combination of factors, right? Because this is actually a very elusive bug. I wanted it to happen to me because I wanted to know what you guys were going through, those of you who are suffering from this problem, but it has never happened to me. I use my system through an LG CX TV. I have it connected to a PS5. I have it connected to the Apple TV 4K with the latest generation. I don't know what version they are at now. I have it connected to my PC as well. And occasionally I do connect it up to my Blu-ray player, which I don't usually keep around because I don't even find my media disc anymore. And most of the time I'm actually playing something from the TV's built-in app itself. So I've never heard that pop, but that took 3 years for them to resolve. Now, just think about it. If Sonos were to release a Sonos ARC Gen 2, they want to ensure and they want to make sure that the public is convinced that the original version has all the bugs ironed out, and they know exactly what to do for the ARC Gen 2. So if they were going to be releasing the ARC Gen 2 next, I do believe that they would have put in all their efforts to resolve this pop of death sound, or this bug rather, in the Sonos ARC Gen 1 before they can sell the Gen 2, right? Because if you're going to launch a Gen 2 and there's a problem with the Gen 1, and some people is going to suspect that, hey, maybe if you're not handling the Dolby MAT format properly in Gen 1, how do we know if you're handling it properly in Gen 2? Because this is unlikely to be a hardware issue. It is probably the MAT decoder, the Dolby MAT decoder. Dolby MAT. MAT stands for Metadata Enhanced Audio Transport. I think that's what's the MEAT. MEAT. Huh, no wonder they left out the E. MET. So, Metadata Enhanced Audio Transport. MET. Okay, so if you have a Sonos ARC or a Beam Gen 2, really, this is the time that you upgrade your firmware to 15.10 if you have not already done so. And if you are waiting for me to say that it is all good because I have already guinea pigged my whole system and tried to update everything, then go for it. Now, if this channel has been helpful to you in any way, and if you have been following my advice, I do appreciate a super thanks. I think the button is somewhere down there below, or you could visit my Patreon site and subscribe and leave me coffee money on a monthly basis. But you know, I don't recommend that you do so if you don't believe that you have derived any value out of it. I'm still okay. Just come by my channel, leave a comment, leave a like, stay subscribed. All these help my channel grow. My channel has grown from a small little channel a couple of years ago to what it is today. Well, it's still 41,000. I've been having less time to work on this because of work commitment, Well, the year end is coming. I'm hoping to take some time off. I've lined up a couple of videos, quite interesting one, may not entirely be related to Sonos or audio product, but I'm making a trip and I've thought of some interesting videos to share with you guys, just to give you an idea of things that I'm interested in, not just wireless audiophile stuff. Okay, and the other thing that some of you, I've been reading some of the comments on Reddit and some of the online forums, there was mention that Sonos voice control was impacted, and after 15.10 it didn't work anymore. Now obviously I don't have every single configuration that you have, and I'm not pairing everything in the same way. I have the Sonos ARC paired with two subs. One is a Gen 2 and one is Gen 3, and I have the Era 300 being paired together as well. And Sonos voice control still works. I mean, of course you have to make sure that the mic is turned on, and it is turned on. Otherwise, hey Sonos, what's the time now?
It is 4:58 p.m.
Okay, so it's working. Now the last thing I want to go through, and I think it's quite important to a lot of you guys, is the sound profile. Has there been any change? Because we are all scarred by 14.12, right? 14.12 really took the performance down to like it basically bombed the whole performance of your Sonos ARC with the subwoofer setup, and we were so disappointed with that. It took them 3 months to resolve it, and this time round, safe to say, there is no discernible impact on the sound. Nothing got significantly better, nothing got significantly worse. So now I'm going to pull up two charts, and the first curve, the green curve, is the Sonos ARC, the setup that I just mentioned, on 15.9. So that's the version before today. And every video that I do, I redo the previous version. I don't just take the one that I've done a month ago and show you the frequency response, because every day is different. Sometimes the things in my room have shifted a little bit, so I just want to make sure that it's consistent from time to time every time I test. So this green curve here was done earlier, before I did the update, and then about 50 minutes later I did another update, which is, well, I'll talk about that in just a bit. So for the green curve, 15.9 for the Sonos ARC paired with a pair of subwoofers and the Era 300, this is what you're getting. Now I have zeroized all the settings. The only thing that was kept was TruePlay, and actually I accidentally left it on. So I don't usually turn on TruePlay when I do all my tuning, but this is TruePlay on, right? Just bear that in mind. Now TruePlay in my particular room, in my particular setup, doesn't do a lot, but this is how it looks like. You'll see that the bass is actually a little bit accentuated. So as compared to the mid-range as well as the higher treble response range, the bass, like most Sonos products, would sound a little bit more enhanced, right? So this is a good curve. I didn't smooth it out that much because I needed to point out the difference between the 15.9 and 15.10, which 15.10 is represented by the red curve here. Now, if you look at the red curve and the green curve, there is actually very little difference. Now, because it's been smoothed out, you may not see the drastic difference for the specific frequency range, but this is a good representation. I mean, most human beings won't be able to discern between 128 Hz and 129 Hz anyway. So this is a rough approximation of what you're going to be hearing. So as you can tell, there isn't actually a lot of difference. Now at various frequency points across the whole frequency response range, you will see that sometimes 15.9 does a little bit louder, sometimes 15.10 does a little bit louder, and it switches, you know, on and off here and there. But from general observation, if I'm looking at the curves, the red curve, which is 15.10, does look a little bit more even out, right? Giving the impression that it is a slightly flatter frequency response. And if you look at the extremes at the bass and the treble range, you'll see that the red curve, 15.10, actually stands out just a little bit more. But the difference is so tiny, it is either indiscernible, meaning to say you can't actually hear the difference, or it could be a measurement error. But what I do when I derive this curve, you see one curve. That's because I've averaged like 8 to 10 different test runs in order to derive that one curve, so that I take out any possibility of measurement errors here and there, and any kind of fluctuations in between runs. So you can take this as like a quite normalized and quite averaged out response already. In any case, the sound signature has not changed. Everything is still working as it is. So all is good to go. So what did 15.10 not fix? There are, well, basically, again, I'm mentioning this, and this is probably the third time I'm mentioning this. 15.10 did not include TruePlay for the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Strangely, the 15 Pro seems to have already been rolled out. So why the distinction? I would have thought that the Pro and the Pro Max, with just a difference in the size of the phone, wouldn't make much of a difference. But, well, you know, depending on where the mic is sitting and which mic they are using, it could be recessed differently because of the difference in the phone size. And also, there is a slightly different camera module in the 15 Pro Max as opposed to the 15 Pro. So that could change how the mic is picking up the sound. I don't know all these details. I just know that they have not enabled TruePlay for the 15 Pro Max, and I'm waiting for that. So by this time next month, which is pretty close to Christmas already, I hope that comes in time so I can spend my last week where I'm taking leave at home, enjoying my whole system with TruePlay built in. Now, the other thing that I want to mention as parting shot for this video has got nothing to do with 15.10, but there is a sale that's happening right now on Sonos.com, right? So if you go to Sonos.com, there's a Black Friday sale, and a lot of that stuff is going for 20% discount. And the most amazing thing, I mean, I'm gonna scroll some of them through. You see that the Sonos Arc is going for 20% off. The Sonos Beam Gen 2 from $500 is slashed to $400. That's 20% off again. And even the Sonos Era 100. The Sonos Era 100 is a relatively new speaker. It's priced at $249, which makes it more expensive than the Sonos One. But with a 20% discount, actually it's a $50 discount, it slashes the price to $199, which is even cheaper than the Sonos One. So why would you get a Sonos One? Well, if you want to know the difference between the Sonos One and the Era 100, maybe refer to one of these videos I'm making right here. But if you do want to get anything from Sonos, this is probably the time. I wish I have a trip to the US, or I actually wish I was staying in the US right now. Green card, anybody? Come. Well, anyway, I'll see you in my next video. Hopefully, my trip that is upcoming, I have some of those things planned for you, and I hope you find it interesting. May not be related to Sonos, may not be related to anything wireless audiophile, but maybe you'll get to know me better as a person, not just your favorite YouTuber for Sonos products and firmware updates. See you.